Today, Asia Media International had the honor of getting an exclusive interview with Tiana Day, a 19-year-old activist, organizer, speaker, and founder of the nonprofit organization Youth Advocates for Change. Tiana has chosen to fight for her rights as a half-Black, half-Asian American woman living in the modern world, and has been a powerful leader for the youth of her community. Thank you so much, Tiana, for joining us today for this exclusive interview for Asia Media International. Can you first tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create this nonprofit organization?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like when I was in high school, I didn't see a lot of representation, which caused me to start organizing protests and rallies during the Black Lives Matter uproar. Just seeing a lot of young people in 2020 starting to organize made me really inspired and realized that there's a lack of space for creative young people who want to get into this work. And really the way to involve younger people and the younger generation best to make change is to connect their passions and talents with social justice. So I saw that there was a lack of space for that and wanted to create my own.
Definitely. It's really inspiring for me to see and for other youth to see someone like you represent the underrepresented. Can you tell us a little bit more about the 3 campaigns you have spearheaded and what they have meant to you and your organization?
Oh gosh, campaigns are my favorite part of our organization. The first one that we ever did was for Black History Month, and it was called Comfort Within Color. We highlighted all Black creatives, both in front of and behind the camera, in order to put together this campaign essentially to showcase young women who are finding comfort within their skin color in a space where white supremacy and whitewashed education exists. So for me, it comes from a place of passion and lived experience, and I really wanted to showcase that for Black History Month because Women's Month is right after that, kind of about the Black experience as a woman growing up in today's society. So it was an incredible first campaign, which led us to do our next campaign for AAPI Heritage Month, which you photographed,
Yes.
Which was incredible. And basically your little sister Bella came up to me and said that we should do a campaign kind of honoring Asian heritage. And as someone who's half Filipina, I really thought it was important to showcase again culture and really have a space for young people to celebrate that, because I think a lot of the time we're so worried about fitting in with certain crowds and just blending in at school to get through. And a lot of people are ignoring their culture and the history behind it. And I think it's really important that as young people, we find empowerment in where we come from and our background, and especially during this time where it's very scary. You know, we don't know if we walk out of the house and are gonna come home some days due to gun violence, due to all the violence that's happening in the world, especially within the Asian and Black communities. So again, it was a very, very special campaign to me that meant so much, and really I felt resonated with my story, just being able to learn about my peers and all of our heritages and coming together to really create a space to have that conversation. And then our most recent one, I had no part of, because I really want to make sure when we're doing these campaigns that who we're celebrating is both reflected in front of and behind the camera. So this was a campaign for Pride Month, and this was curated entirely by the LGBTQ plus community at Youth Advocates for Change. They decided they wanted to do a rainbow cake and do a cute like paint splatter themed photo shoot with all of the different flags that felt they were represented by, and they did it in a park, and I absolutely loved the way it turned out. I think being able to give the space to people who really need the resources and need the space to create what they want to create and have no boundaries to that, I think that's really why campaigns mean so much to me, and being able to execute them so beautifully. Art is interpreted differently by everyone, so being able to make sure that those people are kind of celebrated again both in front of and behind the camera is very important to me. And yeah, I'm excited for more campaigns to come.
Yes, really amazing work. It's super cool to see young people come together and represent groups that have been traditionally underrepresented in our society. And because I think growing up we didn't really see very many people look like you and me on television, and I think that it's great that you're creating a space for people to really show who they are and show who they are inside. You've inspired so many with your mission to create a better future for our youth. That being said, how do you stay motivated as a woman right now when our health and well-being are being violated?
I think that's exactly how I stay motivated, is knowing that there's so many of us who are going through such a hard time kind of digesting what's happening in our society. And what the thing is we're not going to stand for it. Mm-hmm. I think this overturn of Roe v. Wade, people are thinking like, this is something that's permanent. And then there's people who are like, there's no way we're going to let this slide. We're going to keep pushing. And I think that's what keeps me motivated. It's like pushing for change. Nothing is permanent and set in stone. And although it may feel like a setback, there's always ways that you can push back and you can make sure that your voice is being heard. And I want to make sure that I'm empowering people to understand that, because it's easy to get dwelled up and worried about what's going on in, the news, but really staying in spaces and creating spaces really that you feel celebrated and you feel like you have a good work environment of people who are encouraging you and have the same similar mindset, are fighting for the same rights as you. It's really important to me, and making sure that the space that I create and the spaces that I'm constantly in are places that I feel celebrated, not even just as a woman, but as a woman of color, as a young person. So for me, staying motivated in dark times like these is really making sure that my team and the people I'm surrounding myself with are also self-motivated, in the sense that they're with me in this fight. And regardless of your gender, your sexuality, your background, your ethnicity, it's like there's no way that anyone can possibly create change without the intersectionality of unity. And every single piece of activism, every social justice issue right now at stake, really those teams need to come together in order to create change. Like, this is not just an issue that's going to affect women or people with uterus, but this is going to affect everyone. Mm-hmm. It affects women of color mostly. Those are conversations that we have to have with not only people that are within this community, but people who are in all kinds of marginalized communities, in order to create a larger impact.
Really great work, very inspiring. What are some of your proudest moments as a youth advocate leader, and what have you and your organization done to impact the community around you?
I think one of my proudest moments was leading my first protest, and it was across the Golden Gate Bridge. It was the biggest turnout that I've had to date, but really that's not what matters to me at the end of the day. I think if one person's impacted, then you've done your job. But as a 17-year-old who has never spoken in front of crowds before, was terrified of public speaking, and have never organized a day in her life, to kind of just throw something out there. And I always think I said, like, just do it, like Nike, like just to go out there and kind of say, I don't care how many people show up, I'm gonna do this demonstration across a huge monument like the Golden Gate Bridge. It was really a coming of age moment, and something that I felt extremely empowered for. I was moved, and I feel like all of that passion had been building up in me for so long. So being able to release that in a place where I felt, again, celebrated and joined in unity by so many different people fighting for something I was passionate about, which was Black Lives Matter. It was, one of my proudest achievements. And then also being able to see that there's a lot of people who are seeing that there's a need for these spaces for young people like you and me, who are wanting to see this change and wanting to create more change and just uplift a conversation about it. It's really cool, like being able to work with the Warriors and being honored by them, honored by CNN as a Hero of the Year in 2020, and just continuously working with awesome brands that celebrate the work we do. Lululemon, Canva, HP, it's all really cool and incredible, because I would never think even 3 years ago or the day before I led that protest that I would be where I am today, because I just had a moment where I acted on my impulse and what was really moving me, which was my passion for seeing social change.
It's really amazing to see you from the beginning of 2020 when this was all going on. And I remember watching it on the news and just wondering, wow, like, this is such a cool moment in history, and it's really impacting so many. And to see you through until 2022 and see all the good work that you've done for our community, it's really inspiring. And I really think that you've been doing such a great job.
Oh, thanks.
What are your hopes for the future of Youth Advocates for Change?
Definitely expanding a lot more. Right now we have 5 out-of-state chapters, but I would love to get a chapter of students in every single state, and eventually grow internationally. But really my dream is to create a school that is kind of modeled after what we do. You know, our mission is to amplify youth voices through intersectional social justice issues and creative arts. I genuinely believe that the best way to engage the younger generation is to incorporate their passions and their talents that they already, you know, feel moved to do naturally with social change and making a move in the community. And I want to see more spaces like that, and I want to kind of empower and inspire other young people to not only, you know, join us, but create their own spaces like that. Because I think as time gets older, you get more stressed and worried about different things that are happening, and if you're waiting for that right moment to get involved, you're never going to get there. So really just taking advantage of the fact that I had this idea, I had this passion, like right now I think that this can be something that I look forward to in the future. I want to really inspire people to act now. Like I always say, take action, not sides, because at the end of the day, this is a lot of the things that we talk about. It's just human rights. I don't think it's a political thing. I don't think it's a conversation that people should be fighting over. It's just, as humans, we deserve basic rights, and we deserve to be able to feel comfortable in our own skin, however that is for everyone, and it's all different. But what matters most is kind of just respecting everyone and respecting preferences and views. But yeah, at the end of the day, like that's really how I see us continuing to grow and work hard and just bring more people into the organization to make a greater impact.
Well, thank you so much, Tiana, for joining us today for this interview. I'm super inspired by all of your work, and I'm so proud of everything that you've done. It's been my honor to interview you for this exclusive interview for Asia Media International. Thank you so much.
Thank you.